Let's be honest, deciphering your utility bills can be even more challenging than doing your taxes. We're not even sure which fees are related to your actual usage versus which ones are just tacked on based on your local jurisdiction. Today, we're going to show you how to pull data from your utility bill, match it up to your solar production data, and see how it's affecting your bottom line. Hi, this is Nick with For Me Solar. We're here to help homeowners understand the benefits of solar energy by breaking it down in an easy and simple to understand way. If you like this type of content, please help us out by clicking the like button and subscribing. Now let's get into it. As an electricity user here in Southern California, we're all really familiar with one of these, our utility bills. Now granted, there's different utilities, but they generally all break down in the same way. Your energy charges are typically broken down into 3 different sections. First one being delivery charges, meaning the cost to send the electricity to your home. Then you also have generation charges, which is really the cost to create that electricity. And then you've got these non-bypassable charges, which are really almost like a form of a tax on your consumption. So even though the utility company tries to break down everything, after reading all of this, most homeowners are still really unsure whether or not their solar is working right, whether or not they're being charged correctly by the utility company, and there's no real clear way to determine that. So here what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at both sets of data from the utility company as well as from the solar production system, match those two together and see what the story tells. We're going to use this tool here called a Solar Facts Report. We're able to pull up not only the utility company data, but also the Enphase production data from his system as well. And we're going to match those two together and see exactly how they line up. Here we're looking at this customer, and as you can see, they're doing quite well. They're estimated to have a true-up credit of $90 by the end of their 12-month period. This person is not only very conscientious about how they use electricity, but the system is also performing quite well according to specifications, so they're able to take advantage of this. So if we zoom in on this graph here, we get to see over the past 12 months how much solar production he's had. The great thing about this report, it actually breaks it down by dollar amounts here. You can see that he actually produced roughly $3,485 of electricity, pushed $2,530 of it to the utility company, and you can see that right here. This is the push. Here is what he consumed, and this is what he sent back. So his actual pull from the utility company is only $1,704, which gives him a net at the end of the year of minus $826. So after everything is said and done, he has credit coming to him versus an actual bill. But how do we know this is true? Well, the best thing is this data comes directly from the utility company. It also comes directly from the solar energy system itself. They record in their own way, but when you match the two up together, you get a complete picture. We just had a look at a very positive scenario where the customer's consumption is still lower than their energy production, and as a result, they wound up with a net credit at the end of their 12-month true-up period. However, not all systems work out this way. In fact, a very common thing that happens is after installing solar, customers will then begin to consume more energy than they anticipated and therefore outpace what their system is actually able to produce. And in those situations, while they have a significantly lower bill, they will still owe money at the end of the year because of the excess energy that they had to pull from the utility company. So this is one such example here with another customer. They've had their system for actually almost a year and a half, almost 2 years now. Overall, they're doing well, but if we zoom in and have a look at the graph here, we can see that during the earlier months of the year, their consumption and their production generally tracks quite well. They match well together and they're consuming less than what they're able to produce. But then if we head into the summer months, which is pretty typical here in California during July, August, September, suddenly consumption greatly outpaces production. And the big reason for that is running AC can be quite energy intensive and gets really expensive. Even though there is significantly more sunlight during that time of the year, the amount of consumption that happens because of how hot summer is generally outpaces what you're really able to produce. In this scenario here, we can see that during the month of August, it pulled almost $1,000 extra during that month. Then the following month, it got a little bit cooler, but it's still $760, so on and so forth. And you can see how this happens. Towards the end of the year, production also drops because the amount of sunlight hours available drops. So in this scenario, we wind up with a customer who despite producing over $5,000 of electricity in that year, at the end, they're going to owe roughly about $4,500. Well, how did this happen? Over time, habits change, and therefore consumption changes. The thing for this customer to do, since he's on the current 2.0 standard, would be really to add more solar panels to his system and therefore mitigate that additional. Now, granted, depending on the number of panels you add, that may also push you into the next net metering standard, in which case, if we find that that's the case, then we would recommend a battery instead. If it's too much to add a battery or you don't want to consider adding more panels, well, consider using the AC less or possibly during different parts of the day. That will then drive down your consumption and therefore your bill. So it's not as if you have to spend money to start saving more money. You can also change your habits too, and a report like this tells you exactly where and how you can get that done. So in this video, we got a chance to see how you can pull data from the utility company as well as from your own solar energy system to get a really clear picture of what your usage looks like and where any gaps might be. We saw one customer who's doing quite well with their usage, and at the end of the year, they wind up with a credit, whereas we have another customer who started out really well, but because their consumption increased due to home remodeling and really, honestly, just really hot summers, we can see that they're going to wind up owing money to the utility company. But the great part of it all is we can also identify what areas that they can focus on to drive down that bill and what behaviors they can change to basically add more back to the bottom line. This level of insight is incredibly priceless to have, and if you're interested in finding this out for yourself as well, we're going to leave a link to SolarFacts in the description below. If you found today's video helpful, help us out by clicking on the like button and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video.